Welcome back, guys. Module 1, Lesson 12. Hope you're having a good day. Make sure you have the things that you need to help you be successful in today's problem set. A pencil, whiteboard marker, your place value chart, and your book opened up to Lesson 12. So let's get started. All right, let's start with number 1. Let's read the directions to figure out what we need to do to be able to answer the question. Number 1 is they want us to choose the reasonable product. So box and choose. Reasonable means, just about. The product is the answer to a multiplication sentence. So find like the about answer for each expression, for each problem. They want us to explain our thinking in the space below using words, pictures, or numbers. So let's look at 1A. 1A is 2 and 5/10. Multiply it by 4. And you can see we have 4 different choices to pick from. Quickly, I'm going to eliminate one of them. One of them is the 1/10. Well, you know what? You can't do 2 and 5/10 times 4, which is going to give you a bigger number, and then have 1/10 as your answer because that's going to be small. Also, we can eliminate the 1 whole because 2 and 5/10 is over 1 whole, and we're multiplying that by 4, so our answer has to be bigger than 2 and 5/10. So let's take our expression 2 and 5/10 and let's just find some easy numbers to round 2 and 5/10. So 2 and 5/10, is it closer to 3 or is it closer to 2? Well, 2 and 5/10 is closer to 3, so I'm going to say 2.5 or 2 and 5/10 is about, that's like the little equal sign but squiggly, is about 3. So 3 times 4 would give you 12. So that tells us that our answer is going to be close or around 12. And out of the 2 answer choices, 10 seems like the most reasonable answer out of the 2. All right, so all we're doing is just kind of finding some easy numbers to multiply to figure out which one is it close to. Let's go ahead and do 1B. 1B, 3 and 1400ths, multiply it by 7. So let's kind of go back and do our reasoning. If I have 3 and 1400ths, that's close to what whole number? That should be close to 3 instead of 4. And then, so I'm going to say, so 3 times 7 is going to give me 21. So our answer is around 21, close to 21. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to eliminate the first answer because that's too big. I'm going to eliminate the second answer, that's too big. And I'm going to eliminate the last answer because that is too small. And I'm going to say, boom, the third one is the right answer choice just by doing some reasoning. 1C, we've got 8 times 6 and 22 thousandths. So we're going to take our decimal and say, okay, 6 and 22 thousandths is about close to 6. So 8 times 6. Hopefully you know our multiplication facts. If not, you can use a multiplication chart, or you can add 6 8 times, or you can even add 8 6 times to give you the answer of 48. So looks like the first one's too small. It's not reasonable. Looks like the second one is reasonable. The third one's not reasonable. And the fourth one is not a reasonable answer based on our estimation. All right, so just kind of using some mental math to help us figure out what the answer would be close to by using estimation. On the next page, we're going to do some word problems. So let's look at number 2. We're going to read, we're going to annotate to help us figure out what we need to do. Pedro is building a spice rack with 4 shelves. So 4 shelves, let's circle that are each 55 hundredths meters long. So each shelf is 55 hundredths meter long. Next part of the word problem. At the hardware store, Pedro finds that he can only buy shelving in whole meters. Let's go ahead and box in or underline whole meters. that means he can't buy anything less than 1 meter long. So it's going to be like a board that's 1 meter long, or maybe 2 meters long, or 3 meters long. It's not going to be 1.75 meters long that he can buy. It's going to be a whole number. They want to know exactly, let's box in the word exactly, how many meters of shelving does Pedro need? And it says, since he can only buy whole number lengths, how many meters of shelving should he buy? And we have to justify our thinking. That pretty much means support your answer with your work. All right, since he needs 4 shelves and each shelf is 55/100 meters long, let's turn that into a multiplication expression. We're going to say he needs 4 shelves and each of them are going to be 55/100 meters long. Let's take the 0.55 and turn it into unit form. That means we're going to do 5 and the word hundredths at the end. So that would mean once I multiply 4 times 55, I'm going to figure out how many hundredths that would be. So let's just go back to 4th grade and quickly let's take 55 and multiply it by 4 to figure out how many hundredths. So 5 times 4 is 20. Carry your 2, bring down your 0. 5 times 4 is 20 again, plus 2 more is 22. So that means we have 220 hundredths. That's our answer. So if we took out our place value chart, then that means I would put 220 in the hundredths column. But we can't have the 2 2s in there. We have to move them forward. So the first 2 will go to the 1s. The second 2 would go to the tenths. And that 0 would stay the same. So let's write our answer as a decimal, 2 and 20 hundredths. Actually, we can make it even easier and get rid of that 0 behind the 2 to make it 2 and 2 tenths. Now we kind of have our answer here, but we had 2 questions in the word problem. The first one said, exactly how many meters of shelving does Pedro need? This is how many meters he needs, 2 and 2 tenths meters of shelving. So let's write our sentence out. So Pedro needs 2 and 2 tenths meters. Make sure meters is plural since we need more than one of shelving, since we needed to describe what is that actual number of meters for. It's for the shelving. And then the other question that we need to answer, it says, since he can only buy whole length numbers, how many meters of shelving should he buy? So this is how much he needs, and the store only sells whole number shelves or planks or wood, whatever. So obviously he's going to need to buy more than 2.2 tenths meters, and the next whole number would be 3. So he would need to buy 3 meters of wood. So we're going to write, he will need to buy 3 meters of shelving to build his spice rack. And I will make it so everyone can see it, our sentence. All right, and don't forget, if I go too fast, you have that luxury of hitting pause to kind of get caught up if I'm writing too fast or writing my work too fast for you. So let's go over to number 3. Number 3 says, Marcel rides his bicycle to school and back on Tuesdays and Thursdays. He lives 3 6/200 kilometers away from school. So let's box in 3 6/200 kilometers away from school. So Marcel's gym teacher wants to know about how many kilometers he bikes in a week. Now, there's no numbers in there, but there's something kind of special in that third sentence, and that's the word about. About how many kilometers does he bike in a week? His gym teacher wants to know that. Marcel's math teacher wants to know exactly how many kilometers he bikes in each week. What should Marcel tell each teacher? Show your work. All right. So the gym teacher wants to know, hey, give me about how many kilometers you bike. But the math teacher, math wants to be precise. He wants to know, or she wants to know, the exact number of kilometers. So let's go ahead. Let's visualize really quick. I always like to draw little pictures to help me figure out what the word problem means. So if Marcel is riding his bicycle from his house to his home, I'm going to say this little box is his home, and this little box right here is his school. And so if he's going from home to school, that is 3 62/100. And then obviously he has to ride back from school to home at the end of the school day. So it looks like he does that twice in a day, the same amount of kilometers twice in a day. And going back to that first sentence, he is actually biking on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So it looks like he's going to be riding this amount 4 times in a week. Because on Tuesday, he goes to school, he comes back, and 3 62/100 is only one way. So his gym teacher wants to know the about, and the math teacher wants to know the exact. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to kind of partition my workspace, and I'm going to put the word gym for the gym teacher, and then the word math for the math teacher. So pretty much the multiplication sentence is 4 times 3 62/100, because he's doing that one-way bike ride 4 times in a week. So if I'm using the about method, I'm estimating like we did on the first couple problems. So I'm going to say 3.62 is about, is it closer to 4 or is it closer to 3? Well, that 6/10 means it's going to be closer to 4 holes. So I'm going to take that 4 holes and do 4 times 4, which would give me 16 kilometers. So I'm going to do 16 km. And then for the math teacher, he wants to know exactly. Now we have some multiple ways of showing the exact calculation. We can multiply, we could even add, and I want you to do right now what's most comfortable for you. Right now, we're not really into multiplying decimals, a lot of practice in this module, just an intro. So I'm gonna kind of keep it easy, and I'm gonna say, okay, if I have to multiply 4 times 3 62/100, that's like taking 3 62/100 and adding it 4 times. So what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to add it just twice right now. Keep it easy. 2 hundredths plus 2 hundredths is 4 hundredths. 6/10 plus 6/10, that's 12/10. So put down the 2 and carry the 1. Get my decimal point. And then 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 1 more is 7. So that is 7 24/100. If I added 3 62/100 again twice, I would get the same answer, 72/100, or 7 24/100, sorry. And then, so what I'm going to do is going to take 7 24/100 and add it twice, and that should give me my answer close to 16 kilometers that I estimated for the gym teacher. So 4 plus 4 hundredths, that's 8 hundredths. 2 tenths plus 2 tenths, that's 4 tenths. Decimal point. And 7 plus 7 is 14. So it looks like the exact number of kilometers is 14 48/100. Close to 16 kilometers. So that means I kind of did my math correctly based on my estimation. All right, so you might have some room in number 3 workspace. I don't. I'm going to actually cross off number 4. We're not going to do that. I still want us to write our answer to the question that it mentions in number 3. It says, what should Marcel tell each teacher? So we need to write a response to that question. So we can start off by saying Marcel would tell his gym teacher that he rides about, and it's super important that you put the word about since the gym teacher doesn't want the exact, just an estimated amount, about 16 kilometers each week, while telling his math teacher he rides exactly 14 and 48 hundredths kilometers each week. All right. So we have a response to our word problem. Make sure you have it in sentence form with the numbers that we calculated, with the description of the measurement, and make sure it ends with a period. And that finishes this lesson. I'll see you on the next one.